From America's $660 million flying fortress to India's $560 million sky palace, presidential jets turn routine travel into a high-stakes mission. They're not just planes, they're airborne command centers packed with power, luxury, and next-level tech.
We have an exclusive inside look at an alternative way to fly. There's only one prerequisite.
Today, we're going inside the most expensive presidential jets ever built. And trust me, some look like they came straight out of a Bond movie. Number 10. The United States Air Force One. Here's something most people don't know. Air Force One isn't just one plane. It's actually the call sign for any United States Air Force aircraft carrying the president. But when most people say Air Force One, they are talking about two massive custom-built Boeing 747-200B jets, officially called the VC-25A. Their tail numbers are 28,000 and 29,000. And the first took to the skies as Air Force One on September 6, 1990. Back in the early 1990s, each of these giants cost about $325 million to build. Adjusted for today, that is roughly $660 to $700 million apiece. They are built like nothing else in the sky, with about 4,000 square feet of space spread over 3 decks. Inside, you will find a private presidential suite, a conference and dining room, a medical suite that can handle emergencies, workspaces for senior staff, and a press section. The 2 galleys can prepare 100 hot meals at once, ready to serve in minutes. But this is far from just a luxury ride. It is a mobile nerve center for the entire U.S. government. The president can speak securely with military leaders or world heads of state from anywhere in the world. The plane's electronics are protected from an electromagnetic pulse, the kind that could knock out most other systems. It also carries advanced defenses like electronic countermeasures and infrared jammers that can confuse radar-guided and heat-seeking missiles. If the situation demands, Air Force One can even be refueled in mid-air, giving it the ability to keep flying for as long as necessary. Normally, flights are planned to land, but in an emergency, they can stay up for days. All of this comes at a serious cost. Operating one of these jets is estimated at around $177,000 for every single hour it is in the air, covering fuel, crew salaries, maintenance, and the heavy security needed whenever the president travels. The current VC-25A jets will soon be replaced by the VC-25B, 2 new presidential planes based on the Boeing 747-8. Boeing's fixed-price contract for the modifications is $3.9 billion, but the full program, including government-supplied gear and testing, is closer to $5.3 billion. Originally planned for delivery in 2024, delays have pushed the timeline to around 2027, with some estimates stretching to 2028 or 2029. These planes have already proven their worth. On September 11, 2001, Tail 29,000 carried President George W. Bush as the nation faced one of its darkest days, proving why Air Force One is built to stay connected, protected, and fully operational, even at 40,000 feet. Number 9. Air India One. India doesn't just fly its leaders from one place to another. It sends them in style aboard 2 massive flying fortresses that look like something straight out of a high-budget action film. These are Boeing 777-300ER jets, operated by the Indian Air Force, and the moment the president or prime minister steps inside, the call sign instantly changes to Air India One. They replaced the older Boeing 747 and officially joined the fleet in October of 2020. Getting these wasn't cheap. The pair cost about 8,400 crore rupees, which was roughly 1.1 to 1.2 billion US dollars at the time, or about 560 million for each aircraft. And that price tag wasn't just for the planes themselves. It also covered the serious upgrades that turned them into secure, long-range command centers for running an entire country while cruising at 40,000 feet. Safety is where they truly shine. The United States approved a $190 million package to equip both aircraft with large aircraft infrared countermeasures, an advanced electronic warfare system, and flare dispensers. In simple words, they can detect a missile coming in, launch flares to confuse it, and jam its guidance before it even gets close. Range is another big advantage. A 777-300ER can fly about 8,500 miles, enough to reach most major capitals in one shot, without risky fuel stops in unfamiliar territory. Inside, these jets are all business. There's a top-tier suite for VVIPs, 2 conference rooms for high-level meetings, a press briefing space, a medical room for emergencies, and a secure communications network, so calls, video conferences, and data links remain protected no matter where they are in the world. It's a flying office, hospital, and war room rolled into one. The pilots belong to the Air Headquarters Communication Squadron, known as Pegasus, based at Palam in New Delhi. They handle the long-haul missions for the President, Vice President, and Prime Minister, while smaller Boeing business jets handle shorter trips. Maintenance is handled by AI Engineering Services Limited, which has years of experience with this aircraft type. One of their first headline missions came on March 26, 2021, when the new Air India One made its debut foreign trip, flying Prime Minister Narendra Modi non-stop from Delhi to Dhaka. Both jets started their lives flying for Air India as VTALV and VTAL, before heading to Boeing's Fort Worth facility for the full VIP transformation. Now wearing Indian Air Force serials K7066 and K7067, they are symbols of speed, safety, and global reach for India's top leaders. Number 8. Tajikistan's Dreamliner. Back in April of 2023, Tajikistan pulled off one of the smartest presidential aircraft deals in years for about $92 million, money that usually buys a much smaller business jet. They got their hands on a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, one of the most advanced long-distance aircraft in the world. This wasn't just any Dreamliner either. It was Mexico's famous, unused presidential plane, which had been gathering dust for years. Overnight, Tajikistan turned a storage hangar relic into a globe-crossing flagship fit for a head of state. It now flies with the registration EY001, operated by Somon Air, and it didn't sit idle for long. Only weeks after the deal closed, the president of Tajikistan took it on an official visit to Beijing. Not long after that, plane spotters caught it in places like Munich, Berlin, and Zurich, often with a full delegation in tow. This jet clearly isn't for show. It's logging serious miles and carrying the country's top leaders to major events. The history behind it is just as interesting. When Mexico first got this aircraft in February of 2016, it was one of the earliest Dreamliners ever built, and it came with the official name José María Morelos y Pavón, flying under the call sign TP-01. But when a new administration took power, they decided the jet was too luxurious and refused to use it. By December 3, 2018, it was flown from Mexico City to Victorville, California, where it sat parked in storage for more than 4 years. So why did Tajikistan want it? The answer is in what the 787-8 can do. It can fly about 8,400 miles on a single tank, enough for non-stop trips like Dushanbe to Washington or Paris. It's about 186 feet long, with a wingspan of 197 feet, powered by two GE Jenks 1B engines. Inside, it's built for comfort on long missions, with a cabin altitude of just 6,000 feet at cruise to cut down on fatigue, and electro-dimmable windows that help keep the cabin dark and quiet for overnight flights. The real kicker is that Mexico paid around $218 million for it originally. Tajikistan grabbed it for less than half that, getting a modern, long-range presidential powerhouse for a bargain price. Number 7. Ilyushin Il-96-300PU. Russia's presidential jet isn't something you'll find in a regular airport lineup. It's not a Boeing, it's not an Airbus. It's a homegrown giant, the Ilyushin Il-96-300PU. Those letters PU stand for Command Point in Russian, and that's exactly what it is. A flying control room built to run the country while in the air. It's flown by the Special Flight Detachment Rossiya under the presidential administration, operating from Vnukovo Airport in Moscow. The cost? That depends on what you count. On paper, public contracts for two presidential Il-96 jets were listed at about 3.8 billion and 5.2 billion rubles each, roughly 52 million and 71 million US dollars at the time. But those are just for the aircraft and the VIP interior. Once you add in the classified upgrades, secure communications, reinforced systems, and high-tech defenses, the real figure is believed to be closer to $500 million each. Russia never shares the exact fleet size, but it's clear there's more than one. Deliveries were recorded in 2012, 2014, and 2016, with tail RA96022 arriving in July 2016. Others often spotted include RA96023, RA96024, and RA96025. These jets rotate roles, so there's always one ready for major trips. They don't just stay close to home. One of them, believed to be RA96023, was tracked flying from Moscow to Anchorage for diplomatic talks. That same jet made headlines years earlier in connection with a cocaine smuggling case tied to Russia's embassy school in Buenos Aires, a case that ended in convictions. Size-wise, the Il-96 is a beast. Each is a four-engine wide-body about 182 feet long, with a wingspan close to 197 feet. It holds roughly 40,322 U.S. gallons of fuel, cruises between 600 miles per hour and 645 miles per hour, and can climb to about 43,000 feet. Its range of roughly 6,200 miles makes a non-stop Moscow to New York flight entirely possible. The real reason for the price tag is what you can't see from the outside. These are hardened command centers with secure lines to the Kremlin, built to stay in contact with military and government leaders anywhere in the world. While the exact defenses are classified, experts have spotted infrared countermeasures and other electronic warfare gear, systems designed to detect, block, and confuse threats, so the mission never stops. Number 6. Turkey's Boeing 747-8i. In 2018, Qatar's Emir handed over a gift to Turkey that instantly became one of the most talked-about aircraft in the world, a Boeing 747-8 Intercontinental worth around $500 million. Within weeks, it was painted in bold red and white, given the registration TCTRK, and turned into the nation's flagship for the president. Step inside, and it's clear this is no ordinary jet. Instead of squeezing in hundreds of passengers like a commercial airliner, the cabin was rebuilt for just 76 people. The extra space is filled with staterooms, lounges, conference rooms, and even a small hospital. That hospital isn't just for show. It's fully equipped so that any medical emergency can be handled right there in the air, avoiding costly and time-wasting diversions during overseas flights. The jet itself is massive. It stretches about 250 feet from nose to tail and has a wingspan of a little over 224 feet. Its 4 GEnx-2 B-67 engines are built for smooth, quiet, and efficient long-haul travel. The 747-8 can fly roughly 8,960 miles without refueling. That's enough range for Turkey to reach almost any major capital on the planet in one non-stop trip. This aircraft began its life serving a Gulf royal family under the registration VQB-SK. By October 5, 2018, it had been officially delivered to Turkey, proudly wearing Republic of Turkey markings along the fuselage and a large crescent and star emblem on its belly. Its original build date goes back to late 2012, but the transformation it underwent turned it into a flying presidential palace. The arrival of the jet sparked debate inside Turkey. It came during a rough economic period, with the lira losing value and inflation rising sharply. Critics questioned the timing and the $500 million price tag, but its design makes it clear why it was accepted. Seating for 76, plus the crew, gives space for large delegations, secure in-flight meetings, and non-stop travel between continents without giving up privacy or comfort. Number 5. French Air Force One. France's presidential jet isn't about showing off. It's about getting the job done in style and safety without wasting too much money. The French president's ride is an Airbus A350-200, and whenever the leader is on board, it goes by the call sign COTAM 001. The aircraft is run by the French Air and Space Force's Transport Squadron 60, stationed just outside Paris. This plane didn't roll out of the factory as a VIP jet. It actually began life as a passenger aircraft for Air Caribes. In 2010, France bought it second-hand and completely rebuilt it for official state travel. The total price tag announced by the government was 176 million euros, well over $200 million at the time. That money covered everything from the purchase to the transformation, which included a private bedroom for the president, a soundproof meeting room, a large kitchen, secure communications, and even medical and emergency equipment. The French press quickly gave it a nickname, Air Sarko 1. By 2016, the French government decided it needed something extra: missile defense. They installed C-Music, a high-tech system made by Elbit Systems. If a shoulder-launched missile is ever fired at the plane, sensors pick it up instantly, and a laser system throws the missile off course. That means the president can land in places that are considered higher risk without having to make long detours for safety. When it comes to range, this jet can go the distance. Fully fueled, it can travel about 8,340 miles without refueling. That's enough for a straight shot from Paris to Tokyo or Paris to Los Angeles. The plane is roughly 193 feet long, with a wingspan of about 198 feet, and it cruises at about 630 miles per hour. You've probably seen it in action at major international events. It made its debut at the G20 summit in Seoul and has since been spotted at United Nations gatherings and high-profile visits around the globe. The Transport Squadron 60 crew handles everything: flying, maintenance, and keeping the onboard systems running smoothly. Smaller Dassault Falcon jets are used for shorter trips, but for long-haul journeys, this Airbus is the star. From the outside, it's a sleek white jet with République Française written along the fuselage. But inside, it's a fully equipped flying command center with defenses strong enough to keep the nation's leaders safe anywhere in the world. Number 4. Germany's Airbus A350-313. Germany's presidential flights were never about showing off with gold-plated walls or chandeliers. For years, the country relied on a no-nonsense workhorse called Konrad Adenauer, an Airbus A340-313 flown by the German Air Force's Special Air Mission Wing. It started life as a Lufthansa passenger jet before being completely rebuilt for head-of-state travel. That VIP transformation put its value between $260 and $300 million. Not for luxury's sake, but to create an aircraft that could handle long, demanding missions without compromise. The cabin was built to carry about 143 people, from top officials to staff. Private bedrooms gave leaders space to rest, while a dedicated conference area allowed serious discussions to happen mid-flight. Secure communications kept Berlin connected to its leadership no matter where in the world the jet was. Its range, around 8,390 miles, meant it could fly from Berlin to Washington, D.C. or even Tokyo without stopping. That kind of non-stop reach meant a delegation could land and get straight to work without wasting hours on layovers. Beneath the VIP touches, it remained a 4-engine long-haul jet. That design brought extra safety margins, backup systems, and the ability to keep cruising comfortably for hours on end. Measuring roughly 209 feet in length, with a wingspan near 198 feet, it was built for serious intercontinental schedules. The VIP conversion simply added the tools needed to run a country while in the air. Over time, the jet built a mixed record. In 2018, Chancellor Angela Merkel had to turn back to Cologne en route to the G20 summit after an electronics failure, a story that dominated European headlines and proved the importance of backup aircraft. In August 2023, Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock's planned Pacific trip had to be cancelled after repeated technical faults. Shortly after, Germany decided to retire its A340s earlier than planned. By March 2024, Lufthansa Technik had purchased the old Konrad Adenauer to strip for parts, marking the end of an era. Its replacement came in the form of 3 Airbus A350-900s, each converted to VIP layout by Lufthansa Technik. The first, also named Konrad Adenauer, was delivered in November 2022, and the third arrived in June 2024. The entire program, including the aircraft, government cabins, testing, and support, costs about 1.2 to 1.3 billion euros. Starting in 2026, they will also be equipped with directional infrared countermeasures, making them faster, longer ranged, and harder to target than anything that came before. Number 3. Egypt's 747-8Y. Egypt is on the verge of swapping out its more than 30-year-old Airbus A340-200 for a Boeing 747-8 Intercontinental, a massive long-range flagship that can cross entire oceans without a single stop. The new jet, carrying the registration SUEGY, began its life as part of a Lufthansa order that never went through. It spent years in storage at the Mojave Desert until Egypt acquired it, re-registered it, and sent it to Lufthansa Technik in Hamburg for a full VIP transformation. Aviation spotters first caught it in Egypt's colors in 2022, and it has spent the years since running test flights from Hamburg, with final check flights in 2025, signaling that it is nearly ready for service. The cost has fueled a heated debate. Some reports place the total at around $500 million, while a member of parliament claimed the figure was closer to $240 million. The difference comes down to what's included. The green airframe is one cost, while the custom VIP interior Secure communications and advanced defensive systems are separate, and these upgrades are extremely expensive. The Boeing 747-8 Intercontinental is a giant by any standard. It measures roughly 250 feet from nose to tail and spans just over 224 feet across the wings. Powered by 4 GEnx-2B67 engines, it is built for efficient long-distance travel. It can fly about 8,960 miles without refueling. That's enough for a non-stop journey from Cairo to Washington, D.C., or from Cairo to Tokyo, eliminating the need for risky and time-consuming fuel stops. Inside, the aircraft is being fitted for full head-of-state duties. Plans call for a private presidential suite, secure meeting rooms, and seating for a large delegation. This design means the president and team can hold high-level discussions, make secure calls, and oversee state matters from the moment they leave the runway until they land. Number 2. Israel's Wing of Zion. Israel's leaders now travel in style with a jet built just for them, and it goes by a name that sounds like it came straight out of a movie: the Wing of Zion. This Boeing 767-300ER wasn't always a government flagship. It actually began life as a Qantas passenger plane before being stripped down and rebuilt from the ground up into a flying command center. It's run by the Israeli Air Force, wears the tail number 4XISR, and is fitted with everything you'd expect on a world leader's plane: secure communications, a private bedroom, a meeting space, and even a compact war room where urgent decisions can be made mid-flight. The price tag is enormous. Local reports say the whole program came to around 750 million shekels, roughly $207 million. Its road to service was anything but smooth. The jet first landed in Israel in 2016 and finished its heavy conversion by 2019, even making a test flight that same year. But political changes kept it grounded. One government shelved it, the next brought it back. Finally, in July 2024, the Wing of Zion made its first official mission, a trip to the United States carrying equipment and part of the delegation. Just days later, it carried the Prime Minister on his first trip aboard. That was 8 years from the day it arrived to the day it was fully put to work. The result is a long-range, twin-engine jet that can function as a mobile government headquarters. It cruises near 620 miles per hour, climbs to about 43,000 feet, and can fly around roughly 6,880 miles without stopping for fuel. That's enough to cover Tel Aviv to Washington, D.C. in one go. It's powered by 2 General Electric CF6-80C2 engines, measures about 201 feet in length, and has a wingspan of 170 feet. Inside, it's more about work than luxury. There's an office and private bedroom for the head of government, a conference space for meetings in the air, a galley for meals, and secure systems to stay connected to the military and ministries while cruising far above the ground. Before its debut, a technical fault briefly grounded it, but it was fixed in time. Proof that even high-profile planes need a shakedown before hitting their stride. Number 1. Japanese Air Force One. Japan's leaders travel in style and safety with not one but 2 matching Boeing 777-300ER jets. These are the aircraft that carry the Emperor and the Prime Minister, flying with the call signs Japanese Air Force One and Japanese Air Force Two on official missions. They almost always leave together, one carrying the VIP, the other right behind as a fully equipped backup with technicians and extra crew. Both are run by the Japan Air Self-Defense Force's 701st Squadron, based at Chitose Air Base in Hokkaido. The first jet arrived in Japan on August 17, 2018, and both officially began service in April 2019. Buying these wasn't cheap. In its 2014 budget, Japan set aside about 135.5 billion yen for the two jets. At the time, that was roughly 1.3 billion US dollars, or about 650 million each. On top of that, a long-term maintenance contract with All Nippon Airways was valued at about 38 billion yen over 20 years, ensuring they stay in perfect condition for decades. Inside, these planes look nothing like a normal airline cabin. They are arranged for about 140 passengers, with wide briefing rooms, meeting areas, and workstations made for long-haul travel. Japan has even released official photos showing conference tables, bright interiors, and spacious layouts. And they are not just for VIP trips. If needed, the pair can be sent overseas to evacuate Japanese citizens in an emergency. Japan chose the 777-300ER for its range and dependability. Each jet runs on two GE 9115B engines, the most powerful turbofans ever put on a passenger, and a few faded marks by about 8,480 miles without refueling. That's enough for Tokyo to Washington, D.C., or almost anywhere in Europe non-stop. Each jet is about 242 feet long, with a wingspan just over 212 feet, and cruises comfortably at around 650 miles per hour. When they fly on state business, spotters often catch both jets, tail numbers 801111 and 801112, landing and taking off together. For training flights, they switch to the call signs Cygnus 1 and Cygnus 2. Their arrival marked the end of Japan's Boeing 747 era and the start of a quieter, more efficient, and longer-reaching flagship. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.